Hey, hi, hello, friends. And I'm back in my green. So, I just want to jump right into this. Not going to waste too much time. You guys know it's going to be one of the two videos we're talking about today. I'm going to be talking about Escape. That's the one I managed to grab. I'll see if I can find a copy of the other video that she put up, and I might have a react up for that tomorrow. But for this video, honestly, I just saw it come up and I was like, with a title like that, my God. And so I just, I just decided to go ahead and just react. I'm babbling. What I mean to say is I had a light day today when it came to meetings, and so I figured I would just like clip it down. It was only 30 minutes, which is honestly part of the reason why it was so easy for me to do. And all of that is just my internal process, and none of you guys probably care about that. Let's talk about the actual video, shall we? Originally, I was going to be talking about what's been going on for the past few days vis-a-vis her quitting Vlogtober, which, spoilers, she quit Vlogtober. I know, it's so surprising. We would never have expected that from Foodie of all people. She's normally so consistent with her word. But she quit it because on day 2, she had a tummy ache, and obviously, what are you going to do? Sometimes you've got a stomach ache, and so you have to cancel weeks and weeks of planning. That's just what happens, even with good planning. And then she put up this video. This was the one that caught my eye. I wanted to talk about her Vlogtober video, and Milk Tea Reacts had put up this comment on Twitter talking about context, and I thought that was like a really interesting concept because some of her videos, especially her pre-recorded videos, are actually quite, I would say, like entertaining in the way that Chantel's like vlogs and stuff used to be. And I still found myself irritated with her, and the reason for it was the context. All of that is to say, the best laid plans of mice and men. I woke up this morning, saw this video, got it, and then the moment I came back to actually watch the video all the way through, it was already gone. So, and she had put up another video, and that was gone too. It's a mess. My part of this is probably going to be shorter than normal, even though I do have about 7 minutes worth of her actual video in here, because I think a lot of the times her words just speak for themselves. I just wanted to give you a couple of my pointers, and I wanted to clip this down and put it out there, mostly for people who are like me and who are not at all interested in watching her and giving her their views and their money. And now that the video is gone, it's going to be even harder to find. So, with all that said, let's jump into it.
I'm going to be driving home because I have my therapy at 11:30. And nothing is fucking up my therapy today. Nothing. No man, nothing. So, I have a story time for you, and I'm telling you this. And Nader, if you're watching this later, every single time you're a friggin' abusive asshole to me, I'm going to out it on the internet, okay? So, because that's my right to do it. So you know what? I just fucking left him at the pharmacy with his fucking STD prescription, and his phone is here. This is my phone. You know what? Like, fuck that. I'm so done. I'm telling you, I want to be done. Like, I had to I need to drive home.
All right, two things. One, her voice is a little out of sync. I don't think that's on my end. I think that was her original video, but I can't be sure. And the video that I downloaded is, as Milk Tea would say, potato quality. It is quite bad. So if you guys are watching this and it's coming out like super grainy and like it has 4 pixels, that's on me. I think I grabbed the bad quality version of it, and I am unwilling to go to the farms. You guys know my feelings about this. As for her actual, what she's saying. Look, she can come on here and she can tell the internet, and honestly, I think it's better if she does. I know people feel a certain way about it, especially with how often she goes back and forth, that it gives people the impression that we don't want to hear, or that we don't care, or that, I'm chastising her for sharing this. And as frustrated as she makes me about the fact that she does not share, like that she does not take any of the information that she's shared to heart and like decide to actually go through with it and stick to her guns and break up and stay broken up with this man, like kick him the fuck out of your life. I still think it's better that she come on here and she tell us what she's going through, because the other option is she keeps it all to herself, and knowing that she's alienated pretty much everybody else in her life, I worry that that may result in essentially her having nobody else to tell about this. I'd worry about that. And Chantel is, as said before, a relatively vulnerable person. She's not someone who has a lot of socialization. She's not someone who has like a ton of friends and family around her. She's not particularly physically mobile. You know, the most we can do is call the cops. But if she is unwilling to really make a case for her, then I would, in a very morbid way, the more she talks about this, the more evidence there is out there that if something happens to her, something unfortunate, that at least there is prosecutable evidence online. You know what I mean? Like, people can clip together her own words. There's something for the cops to go on. Even if she denies it, even if she's not willing to press charges, or if she can't, or whatever. You know, like, that's a really morbid way for me to think, but I still think it's better to have this information out there. Personally, I would like for her to take more to heart the things that she tells us and like never go back to this man. But I'm beginning to lose hope that that will ever happen. I really hope this is the breaking point, you know. But with Chantel, honestly, I've been led down so many paths like this and been let down so many times that
I just spent an fucking so I get up early to bring him to the clinic. And the thanks I get because I say I want to go back home after and have my therapy in private. Oh, that cost me an hour of being screamed at in the car, in my face, screamed at. Like, yes, I felt very afraid at that moment. I don't know how many effing signals I need.
okay, I've said this before, and I'll say it again in this context for her, for everyone, right? When you are in a relationship with someone, it doesn't mean that you two merge into one person and that like you don't need personal boundaries, you don't need personal space. At the end of the day, you are still a human being in your own right, and you still need space. You still need room to grow, to room to change. You still need, just secrets, I guess is the best way to put it, but kind of not. Secrets implies that you're hiding something from them. But like, I have a lock on my phone. I don't like partner looking at my phone. I don't like partner looking through my laptop. It's got nothing to do with the fact that I have secrets in there or that like I'm, I don't know, like secretly importing human flesh or something like that. It's just, I just don't like the idea of somebody going through all of my things. I like my privacy, right? It's one of the reasons I don't tell you guys everything that happens in my life either. I just like my privacy, and I like there being stuff that only certain people in my life know, and who I choose to divulge that information to is up to me. That's why I don't believe in like this idea that like two people are incomplete and then you meet someone and you're whole. I think that when you meet someone who is a complement to your personality, you know, and that's how you know that you guys are meant to be together. Like love and all that, of course, but like personality wise, they have to be a complement. They have to be stronger in the things that you are weaker in, but with still enough overlap in your two personalities that you guys are good. And most importantly, I think it's toxic to any relationship if you are that person's whole world, right? I'm not talking about just like financial stuff, which we'll get into that later, but I mean, personality wise, you can't be their whole social circle. You can't be, you know, the person who they're pouring all their secrets, their lives, their hopes, dreams, and expectations into, and they can't expect that from you either, because that is giving too much of yourself away. You need to be able to function on your own as an adult, because breakups happen, because divorces happen, because hell, even if you have a perfectly fruitful, happy relationship, one of you will die before the other 9 times out of 10, right? That's generally what happens. One of you passes on, and the other person has to learn to live on their own, and they can't, if you pour so much of yourself into the other person, it's going to be hard for you to exist. So even in a healthy, like semi not abusive relationship, it's not a healthy way to behave where you're pouring everything of yourself into one person, or that's the expectation that they have. It's never a good idea. You have to learn to be content with your own company first and foremost, right? That is not to say that you have to be like happy with yourself all the time, but if your idea of a relationship is that there are no boundaries between the two of you, that is not a healthy place to be. Their partner can't expect that from you, and you can't expect that from them. This idea that he wants to sit in on our therapy session, I think is really damning. And I think there was something, I forgot who said this. I want to say it was maybe I don't know. Actually, I have no idea. Maybe it was Callie, I think. Callie mentioned that, you know, he potentially is on probation, right? Nader is on probation, and that if she reports something to her therapist, therapists, by the way, they're bound by a code of ethics much the same way that anybody else is. And normally they can't, like, doctor-patient confidentiality applies to most therapy professionals as well. But in the case where they tell you something, and it could be a case of, like, harm, right? Like either you causing self-harm or potentially somebody becoming a danger to somebody else's life, that is an actionable offense. They can potentially report that information to the police without like professional repercussions. So if she's telling this guy, if she's talking about this guy with her therapist, and she tells them that he might have hit me, he might have done this, whatever, you know, not might, she tells them that he has or whatever, anything of that sort, if she reports it to her therapist and her therapist feels that it is eminently important to report that to the authorities and he is on probation, he could go back to jail. If he is not a citizen, he could be deported. There are consequences for him that I think he is worried about, which is part of the reason why he wants to sit in on her therapy. And even if that wasn't true, even if he has no prior offenses, that's a giant red flag. Therapy is private for a reason. Like, unless you're in a group session where it's like everybody shares the same experiences as you don't bring in a spouse or somebody else unless the therapist specifically requests that. And the reason for it is because therapy is difficult. You're bearing a lot of your soul to someone, you know? And to be able to do that, you need to be in the right mindset. One of the things you need to be able to sort of wrap your head around is the idea that you could be completely unguarded with them. And it's hard to do that when you're with someone. There's always a version of you that that person expects to see, and it can become really difficult to let go of all of your like anxieties, of your deep-seated fears, of just be really rawfully honest with yourself when you have to quote unquote perform for someone else, right? And this is not me, like I'm not a therapist here, I'm just letting you guys know what I have gained from therapy myself, and it is very difficult to be like an unpolished, unbiased version of yourself. Like I am, like I have issues myself, you know, like especially imposter syndrome is a big one, and I have a lot of difficulty just being honest about that with my therapist. I often feel like I have to present a version of myself that people will find palatable, and I can't do that with my therapist. It's not productive to me doing better later on in life. And it's harder for me to do when there's anybody but a therapist there, including, you know, if I have, like, I've had partner there once. So it's hard for me to do that. And I know that that's not uncommon. So even if he had no, like negative motivations behind it, it would still not be a good thing, unless specifically asked for by the therapist. But as it stands right now, he's screaming at her that she won't include him in his therapy sessions. That is massively, massively, like, toxic. That is massively hypocritical coming from him. That's awful in all regard. And I'm glad that she got the fuck out of there. But the fact that she had to get to this point for her to understand that is, it's like actively trying not to learn. You're actively going out of your way to not absorb any of the information you know about him. Because if you had learned anything about him in the past times that you've been with him, you would know that this is exactly the kind of thing he would pull. Because everyone else already called it. Like, I'm not surprised to hear that he did that.
Oh my god. My adrenaline, my heart is like, I literally just fucking left him at the pharmacy with no phone. He has my bank card, but I locked it before I left. Like, I was just like...
Hold on, I'll let this play.
You know, like, oh my god, I didn't know what to do. I'm like trying to drive. He's screaming in my face and getting more mad at me because I'm not answering him. Oh, but you know, why do you want to be private? What are you hiding? You know, I know nothing about you. And you keep getting mad about that night. I told you what to do, like screaming in my face. And I'm like, you're scaring me? Don't yell at me.
Okay, I'm sorry. I thought she was gonna... I've watched this one through already, so I know what's gonna happen. So I thought she was gonna address a different point here. So, first of all, why does he have your bank card? he should never have your bank card. You should never give your bank card to anybody. If you want them added to your account, you can make them your own bank card. You can get a joint account, right? And they have their own bank card this way. But outside of my mom giving me like her bank card when she needed me to do like an errand for her when I was like a literal child, I've never had somebody hand me their bank card. Why would they need to? Second of all, don't be giving this man shit. Don't be giving any man that much stuff. Right? Unless you two are married and you're protected by law, like unless there is like some sort of accountability for that, like this, he owes her nothing. If he leaves, right? If he walks out of her life and takes a bunch of her stuff with her, right? There is nothing, there is no law or anything like that in place that's going to stop her. And with marriage, the only reason I feel like you're a little bit more secure in that is that in a lot of states, and I'm not sure how Canadian divorce law works, but if you ever leave the person, then at least you have to split your assets equitably. I don't even think if she leaves now, like in a relationship like this, they're not even common law married. Like she's not going to get any of that back. And a debit card is not like a credit card. You can't dispute a fraud charge on it. So he could go and he could rack up thousands of dollars, you know. I don't know. I just don't think that I don't think that that is a smart decision on her part. But to be fair, like that could be said about 90% of the stuff that she does, so.
And like just like getting like loud with his hands. So it's like, go get your prescription. No, I'm not going. Throws the prescription. So finally I got him to go in, and I locked my bank card and drove away. Now am I afraid of like going back home? Kind of, but.
All right, two things here. One, why are you on live with your audience right now? What you should be doing is calling like a friend or a family member. I know that she's like in short supply of friends, but Pete's is still there. You should call Pete and you should tell him what has happened, right? You should speak with him, because this way you don't have a camera pointed at your face and you're not tempted to check your messages. If you have someone that you're calling, you can just hook it up to your speakers and you can just talk to them. It can keep you calm. It's also somebody in real life who lives near you who probably has more ability to affect change if something happens to you, like Natter finds you or whatever. Why are you on live with us? And this speaks to me of a problem that she has. This like, oh, I'm angry, I gotta go like blast him on social media. You're still not doing the intelligent thing, which is calling your friends and family and or filing a police report. I don't know if she can file a police report for something this little. I don't think she can. But she can definitely call friends and family. And she's not doing that. They would be a much more effective source of comfort for her. Because right now, we really cannot talk to her without putting her in an even worse situation. She's saying her heart's going, she's probably got her adrenaline up, and she's driving. She's on the road with a several ton machine. So if we distract you with comments, and by we I'm including like anybody, you know, it could be dangerous. It could be disastrous. You shouldn't be driving in the state that you're in, but you especially shouldn't be driving and be distracted by your chat at the same time. This is why you have friends and family. The internet is not a substitute for that. And I know this is a tough situation. I'm sorry that she feels bad. But I'm not willing to extend her any more sympathy apart from that. You should have seen this coming. Any reasonable adult would have seen this coming. And quite frankly, I don't even know if this is going to be the breaking point for her, for all that she's raging. He's done worse in the past. Oh, telling you that you can't attend private therapy is your breaking point? Him assaulting your cat wasn't a breaking point? Somebody pointed this out to me in the comment section in one of my previous videos. And they said that the fact that she felt it necessary to even check that the cat has been kicked says a lot. Because there has to have been some indication. Also, people pointed out very kindly that, you know, elderly cats especially are good at hiding pain. So she would not have been able to tell. But yeah, like if my brother chased my sister's cat up the stairs, which he would never do. But if he did, I wouldn't think that, you know, he kicked the cat. I would just assume that he was trying to lock her in my parents' bedroom so that she wouldn't come downstairs and terrorize people. She's want to do that sometimes. Right? So, no, this shouldn't have been your breaking point. The fact that it is quite telling.
That is not, please tell me that's not normal. Like, he's like saying it's normal when I make him mad for him to be like that. Like, no, I can't be in love with this person. Like, this is not love. This is not love.
It's not normal for him to get that mad, but this is a very common tactic that abusers employ. I've talked about it before in the past, but just very briefly. They will try and change a perception of who's at fault and who the perpetrator and God, what's the word I'm thinking of? They do role reversal of who the abuser and the abusee is, essentially. And he does that. He's like, you make me so mad. That's why I'm mad. You did this. This is your fault. And she's mentioned some stuff along this similar line before. If anyone in your life does that, where they automatically victimize themselves when they were the ones having toxic behavior towards you, that is automatically a red flag. And don't get me wrong, people do this all of the time, not in the context of actual physical abuse, but it is still the sign of someone who's toxic, right? Like, emotionally healthy people don't do this to each other. And we told you this before. We've told you this before. Everyone in the comment section has said this to you before. But Chantal needs to reinvent the wheel. She needs to go through all of this to be able to come to those conclusions on her own, right? She can't learn from other people's mistakes. She can't learn from the advice of professionals.
At all.
And I would agree. I don't think that's love. I don't think that's love. I think love helps you grow. It feeds you. It doesn't deprive you of happiness.
This is like a weird, like, why be mad at me? Because I want to be alone for therapy? Like, because you know that I'm talking about you in therapy. Yes, I talked to my therapist about you. Yes, you're going to be the fucking subject of the day today. Go online and fix it. You have to fix it. You know how much shit I got for talking about him online? Fix it. Basically, what are you saying? You want me to lie? Because I said I'm not lying. I'm not lying to people. You did what you did.
Two things here. It's really healthy to talk about people in your life, even if it's not in the context of like them being toxic or abusive or whatever to you. Partner comes up in my therapy sessions with my therapist on a semi-regular basis. He's a big part of my life. And so when stuff's happening, you know, I also mention this, and this, right? Like, or I talk about my mom, or I talk about my siblings, whatever. People, even my friends, my close friends, I talk about them because they're a big part of my life. And when stuff happens, sometimes it helps to frame a situation when I talk about what their reaction was or what their advice was. So it's not necessarily an unhealthy thing. So the fact that he thinks that her talking about him with her therapist is bad implies that he knows she's going to say something that is worrying. You know, as for her lying to her audience, Chantal, I find this very hypocritical of her because Chantal lies to her audience all of the goddamn time. It's just a matter of degree. It's what she's willing to lie about and how long she's willing to perpetuate that lie. Because 9 times out of 10, Chantal's really not great at keeping information to herself, especially if she thinks that it will make an interesting story. It's one of the reasons why she talks about him so much on her channel. Because for all that he's toxic and abusive, it's also a pretty interesting story, right? And that's how she garners views and attention, both for herself and to a lesser degree for her channel. That's why she can't keep things to herself. And she has nothing else going in her life. That's why. So we'll find out about it eventually. That's why I don't like the fact that she tries to like obfuscate it. Either work on yourself enough that you're not like going to indulge in that kind of information and like blab it all over the internet, or keep it, or tell us everything, right? Like, but this weird thing that you do where you lie about the information, you come clean about it later, it just serves to discredit you.
I'm not lying to people. You did what you did. But it is true, that night, he looked like he was gone. Like he was gone. He was gone. And I said, I can't admit to that, but I'm not going to come on. I'm not going online, and I'm not saying nothing happened. He's like, well, if I don't remember it, to me it didn't happen. And if you love somebody, you're going to be more concerned about what the fuck you did to them over your own reputation. You know, like, oh, anyway.
Reputations are important to people for a variety of reasons, right? For a lot of people, their jobs depend on it, their relationship with their family depends on it, just their overall happiness depends on it. People care about what other people think. It's just how we're built as a species. So the fact that she's like, oh, he cares about his reputation, I don't think that is the reputation he cares about. I think he doesn't want the police to find out about this. All of that said, I'm sure he does also care about his reputation. I'm sure he has people who are going to look at this and judge him. I'm sure that it's going to negatively impact him. One of the big things about doing things like hardcore drugs is staying below the radar, because the more people that think negatively of you, the more likely they are to tell to the cops that you're doing something that maybe is a jailable offense. That's why people care about things like reputation. You might have just ruined your future prospects, but for him, it's a consequence of going to jail or not. As for him saying that, well, you know, if I don't remember it, then you know, it didn't happen to me. That's fucking ridiculous. People say things in anger all the time that they don't mean or that they don't remember. But if you said something and it hurt the other person's feelings, it's on you to apologize. I can't say I don't really, not a lot of people in my life drink. And by that I mean that I'm not generally around a lot of people that drink, because I don't drink. So I don't really know if like, or do drugs, honestly. I don't know why I use drinking as an example, but either. So I don't know if there is maybe like something here that like if you're extremely high, it might be more likely to make you violent. I don't know enough about that to really be able to say. I just feel like most people's first actions, even on drugs and whatnot, are not towards violence unless you're already a violent person.
I need to say this, like, because if I, no, I'm not going back, because if I go back, honestly, I feel like, I don't know, it would just be, no, there's no way. I don't feel safe, like, I don't feel safe, like, I don't feel safe for this person, like, on an emotional, every level, and, like, I don't know, sometimes, like, I just feel so confused, because yesterday I had such a good time, but even when I'm having good times with this person, I feel drained, and I just don't know why. I feel drained after every day.
There's two parts to that. One, I think that Chantal is generally more of an introverted person, and for introverted people, even when you're having a good time, at the end of the day, you can feel very drained by interaction with others. Like, I am an extrovert. I derive my energy from people. So the more I am around people, the more hyped I get. Partner is the other way. He tends to get more and more low energy the longer he's around other people. And it's not that like he doesn't like them. It's just it tires him out. That being said, just because you have a good day with your abuser doesn't mean that it's a good relationship or that you should keep it up. An abuser is just that, an abuser. There's going to be good days. That's how they keep you there. There's going to be good times. That's how they keep you there. They might give you gifts and presents and apologies and sweet candy-coated poison. But it's still poison at the end of the day. It's how they maintain that cycle. Because you think to yourself, how bad could they really be when they said so many sweet things to me? How bad could they really be when I had such a good time with them? And I'm not saying that recognizing that necessarily makes it easier, but there has to be an acknowledgement on your part and a willingness to at least try and understand. And that's what she lacks. She's not even willing to try and learn that from other people. She's not even willing to try and talk to her therapist about it and get better about it. I mean, she's saying she's going to do it now, but God, girl, you've been with this man for like 3 months. You should have done this 3 months ago. I really hope that she tells her therapist all of this. But given the fact that the next video is called My Therapist Dumped Me, I have a feeling that no.
And this is going to be my fault. He's going to blame me. I'm fucking him over. I'm going to pay, blah, blah, blah. Oh my God.
Who is he? Tony fucking Soprano? And you're going to pay. But also, yeah, he's probably going to do that. That's kind of what abusers do. It's a classic gaslighting manipulative tactic.
Like, I'm such a fucking idiot.
Yes, you are.
Oh my God. Like, I was gonna pay for his gonorrhea medication. Oh my God. Like, oh my God. Oh my God.
That is the laugh of a woman who's like on the verge of hysterics. Sorry about that. I just had a little bit of a glitch. My phone got full, and so it wasn't working and couldn't record. So let's get back to it.
Or is it something else trying to tell me I'm like, it's my fault I'm dirty or something, or I cheated, or which I know I haven't. Can you get it? I don't know.
Another example of that role reversal.
Anyway, this is, I know, TMI, but like too fucking bad. I don't care. Okay,
So here's the thing, when you put your entire history out there on the internet for people to know about and consume as content, it does make it more likely that someone can use your past against you. You're a known cheater. And so it's much easier for him to say, well, how do I know it wasn't you who gave it to me? You know, after all, you're a cheater. You're a cheater in the past. How do I know that you're not the one who gave it to me instead? And even though she knows it's not true, it's easy for you to fall into the trap of being like, well, I guess like I can understand that. Yeah, you're right. You know, how would he know? You know, maybe it's something else entirely. You know, why would he say it so vehemently that he isn't the one, that he thinks it's me if he's the one who's done it? She's a relatively gullible person, and people do say shit like that and you get away with shit like that.
I'm so fucking sorry for ever doubting.
I just want to keep that one in the bank.
I mean, I've heard of like getting yeast infections from being like not clean, but gonorrhea, I don't know. That's like you don't get gonorrhea from that. I don't think so, right? I mean, like, yeah.
Okay, so here's the thing about gonorrhea. This is my PSA. You can get, first of all, yeast infections. You can get yeast infections from a variety of things. Something as simple as having a new partner that has a different body chemistry. You can get it from hormonal changes. You can get it from a ton of different things. So if you've got a yeast infection, please don't just think that it's because you're dirty, because once more, yeast infections are much more complicated than just saying, oh, you don't have good personal hygiene. As for gonorrhea, no, there's a reason it's called an STD. It's sexually transmitted, right? If he has gonorrhea, the common onset time for gonorrhea tends to be about 2 to 3 days, though it can come on, like you can see the symptoms appear after a month almost, but it's rare. Generally, gonorrhea tends to have a pretty fast onset. And it has more complicated symptoms than just saying, oh, you know, well, I don't have like the vaginal symptoms of them, right? So like the discharge, the swelling, whatever. You can also have joint pain, you can have sore throats, you can have fevers. It is an infection after all. So Chantel's been complaining recently of having a sore throat. She needs to go get that checked like ASAP. And if you are someone who has gonorrhea, please go see your doctor. Please get that addressed. Do not have unprotected sex with people if you have an STD. As far as I know, I think that's actually a criminal offense.
Like, I have to like trick him into going into somewhere. Like, pretend like I'm not mad. Just to get away from this person.
Yeah. How crazy is that you're with someone like that, right? If only you'd had some warning.
I need to pee and I need a fucking Nashi. I need therapy. I have therapy soon. I'll order a Nashi. So,
I mean, I just left that in there. It's a little bit shady of me, but I'm really glad she's getting the therapy, but she is also essentially using food to self-comfort. So for the love of God, please get that looked at. I know if this really is over, my concern is that she's going to spiral, and considering the fact that she is now also an addict of harder stuff than food, I worry that she could slide into really destroying
I don't see you for 3 days. I come back and your fucking dick looks like a golf ball and it has green shit coming out of it. What? And that's from me?
So 3 days is probably enough time for gonorrhea on that, to be very honest. But that would imply that he literally like hopped into somebody else's bed as soon as she was gone, which says something to his pathology, if nothing else. I mean, psychological one, not his literal pathology. Either way, gross. Yes, the gonorrhea also, because it is in fact a gross disease. Not that I'm judging people who get gonorrhea. Not having enough information about how STDs spread. Ignorance is one of the big reasons, and unfortunately, ignorance can proliferate in a manner of different ways. But the idea that you just went bed hopping like that so fast, especially when you're in a relationship with someone else, that's kind of gross.
Oh my God! What the hell is wrong with me? Like, seriously. No. I feel okay, but yeah, I'm going to be getting everything tested. Like,
You know what that says to me? That says to me that she's been having unprotected sex with this man. That is horrifying. That is horrifying, especially considering the suspicions that a lot of people have had about the fact that he could be an intravenous drug user. That's really concerning. Chantal's not exactly a specimen of great health. That is so worrying. Oh
it must
my
have been a
God.
really nasty, disgusting, like, vagina to give you gonorrhea in 2 days. I'm glad you got it. And, like, he's still, like, I swear.
Why are you shaming whoever he had sex with? How do you know that they're not in a similar position? How do you know that they don't think that they're the only person that he's with? Why are you judging the other person? You don't know them. Like, be mad at him all you want, but like, you don't know anything about this other person that you're with. And you've already said they have a nasty, disgusting vagina. You had sex with this man? You have a nasty, disgusting vagina too?
And that's so disrespectful. You know, you sleep with somebody dirty with no condom, and then you, like, give somebody an STD.
You slept with someone dirty without a condom. I don't understand. How is it that all these things can apply to them but not to you? You know, I don't understand how you can think like that. Like, you are not better than them. Don't, like, she is better than Natter. Everybody's better than Natter, but you're not better than the other woman. You don't know anything about her. And potentially she's also a piece of shit like Natter is, but you can't possibly know that. You know nothing about this other person. Nothing at all. So this one is a relatively short one. I'll see if I can get the other video, the My Therapist Dumped Me one. Also, maybe I'll record it today, maybe I'll record it tomorrow, but hopefully I can have that up tomorrow. I know that this was short for me. I don't really have a lot to say because I think a lot of her words speak for themselves, which is why I don't tend to react to a lot of it. But I wanted to add my own context to this, especially because I want her to remember this. I want her and everybody to remember this, especially the people who defend her. Remember this the next time she changes her mind and she comes out and she says, well, he's fine, and why aren't you guys giving him a chance? And you know, I'm reactionary. Remember this. Remember when she said everybody was right, I was wrong. Remember when she said, you know, I don't feel safe with him in any way, emotionally or otherwise. That's that man. That's the man that you're now, you know, pseudo defending by defending her actions. Okay? Anyway, that will be it for me. Thank you guys so much for watching. As always, you know, like if you like this video, dislike if you dislike this video, subscribe, share, do all those fun YouTube things. I've got all my social medias linked down below: Instagram, Twitter, Patreon. You guys know the drill. I want to thank my patrons. You guys make so much of this happen for me, and I'm just so thankful. I'm so thankful to have you guys. I want to say a special thank you to my $25 patrons, to Brenda, Oceana Song, and to D. Higgins. I was thinking of Brenda Song from High School Musical, and I got confused for a second, and I don't know why. As always, I'm Jasmine, the sequel, and I am not relatable. Peace. A special thank you to my patrons: Acrophobe, Ariel M, Christina, Courtney EP, Dainty B, Jam Beans, Sidra Z, Colleen L, Debbie Elliott, Justa Jude, Kate O, and a special thank you to my $25 patrons D. Higgins and Oceana Song.